Good morning, everyone. We're going to have our Easter egg hunt. We're going to get it underway in a very short amount of time. There's just going to be a little short thing for the children before we start, and then a little even shorter thing from me before the short thing before the children. So that's the sum total of our service. Okay. So welcome. If it's your first time here, we're glad you're with us. My name's Nick. I'm the minister here. Later on, I'll be wearing a T-shirt that says Nick the Vic. That's the official nickname for me, if you excuse the pun. And all I want to do today is think about Good Friday. Why? What's so good about Good Friday? You know, when you think about it, it's actually something quite bad that happened, and yet Christians call it Good Friday. And the reality is, it was good because of ultimately what it achieved. That's why we celebrate. That's why we think about it. And that's why we remember it. Mark's gospel, one of the gospels that we've got, tells us in detail what Jesus went through. Tells us that there was a time where he was in the garden called Gethsemane. Tells us that there was prayers made, that it was a tremendous struggle for him, and then he was betrayed. And from being betrayed, he was then led to a mock trial that wasn't in any way just. And from then, he went to the cross, which is essentially what we look at. And all we want to do today is think about that, remind people of that, and ask people to consider what that means in terms of you personally. What does that mean to you? For us as Christians, it means a lot. Now, all I'm going to do is put a PowerPoint up. So Jake, if you've got the PowerPoint, this is for the kids, okay? So they might need some help. And you've got pictures of different things. So for the kids, those that are willing to shout out in church, adults, you might need to help them. What can you see up there? If you can't see it clearly up there, there's a TV up here that you might be able to see. So anyone shout out what they can see. Chocolate. That sounded like Godfrey. That did not sound like a child, but well done, Godfrey. That was Godfrey's impersonation of a child. Fantastic, that one. Chocolate. Any other things? Any other things? Chicks. Picture of little chicks. Anything else? Rabbits, yeah, that one. And what's happening there, Kath? I'm looking at you like you. Oh, right, okay. No worries. And what, sorry? Butterflies. That's actually tulips, isn't it? It's flowers. But, yeah. We did a pub quiz last night, and some of the church are still in competitive pub quiz mode, I think, where they think there's, you know, it's definitely tulips. All right, sorry for those that think it's otherwise. So we've got a variety of images that probably a lot of people, particularly kids, think about over Easter. Okay, I'm going to ask you to watch a little animation and see if you can identify some of the things that are in the animation. It's going to be a few minutes long, so if we can get that up and running, that'd be great.
The chocolate I love, but I'm not quite sure why we have Easter. What is it for? Bunnies and chickens, pretty spring flowers, sunnier weather and wet April showers? But then I found out I'd got it all wrong. I'd totally missed it, the point, all along. Easter is way more than I ever knew. The story behind it is actually true. The story, it starts a long time ago. A baby was born and began to grow up into a man who was kind and true. His name was Jesus, and he was God too. God, as a human like you and like me, lived alongside us so that we would see how much he loves us, how special we are. He sent his son Jesus down from afar. And when Jesus came to show us God's love, he chose to make real the plan from above, to make a new way for all people here, to be friends with God without any fear. God always wanted the best for us all. He longs to be near us, but sometimes we fall. Sometimes we mess up and push him away, and he can't pretend that's somehow okay. It's sad, yes, I know, but don't be afraid. God made a way for the price to be paid once and for all humankind. God sent his son in a plan they designed. In what Jesus did so long ago, he took our mess-ups and sorted them so we didn't have to stay so far apart from God's epic love, his huge, great big heart. Jesus reminded the people of what God said was important, but they just could not see where they'd gone wrong or why Jesus cared. Most of the time, they just argued and stared. Some followed Jesus. They heard what he said. They saw what he did and went where he led. They caught a small glimpse of God's mighty plan. They really believed in this awesome man. When Jesus told people that he was God's son, some didn't like it and wanted him gone, so they plotted and schemed to make Jesus pay. They came up with a plan to take him away. He'd done nothing wrong, but they didn't care. He was a problem, and it wasn't fair to punish this man for being so great. But the crowds were mad and full of pure hate. They nailed him up on a cross on a hill. They left him up there and waited until he died. He was gone. They took him away and found a place near for his body to lay. The thing is, you see, that when Jesus died, his friends were so sad, they cried and they cried. He told them before it wouldn't be long before he would leave, but they thought him wrong. How could they have known that he would be killed? They thought he'd come to change the whole world. How could he do that now he wasn't there? He'd said he'd stay with them. Didn't he care? He told them before that only he could make everything right by shedding his blood, because only he could be good enough to put it all right through God's awesome love. But they'd forgotten what Jesus had said. He told them he'd die, then rise from the dead. And so you can see what they'd be thinking. Jesus was gone, their whole world was sinking. 3 long days later, some women went back to the place where they'd laid him, and in fact, he wasn't there. He'd risen from the dead. They couldn't believe it, just like he said. And that's the whole point of Easter, you see, that Jesus, he died for you and for me. Through what he did, he changed everything, and that's what Easter is celebrating.
Thanks for that, Jake. So, as we just said there, we do enjoy chocolate. We all love chocolate. We love the Easter bunny, the rabbits, the chicks, the tulips. But the reality is, it's about Jesus. Jesus is the reason for the season, and that's what we want to celebrate here. On Good Friday, celebrate the fact that he did what no one else could do, and he did it for me, and he did it for you. So what we're going to do now is close our service off. We're going to sing one more song, and then I'm going to hand it over to Emma, and we're going to start the Easter egg hunt. So Julie, wherever you are. Is she? All right, well, I certainly won't be singing. Clear the room.
Can we stand then to sing How Deep the Father's Love for Us? how vast beyond all measure, that he should give his only Son to make wretch his treasure. How great the pain of sin and loss! The Father turns his face away, as wounds which mar the chosen one bring many sons to glory. Behold the man upon a cross, my sin upon his shoulders. Ashamed I hear my mocking voice call out among the scoffers. It was my sin that held him there until it was accomplished. His dying breath has brought me life. I know that it is finished. I will not boast in anything, no gifts, no power, no wisdom, but I will boast in Jesus Christ, his death and resurrection. Why should I gain from his reward? I cannot give an answer, but this I know with all my heart. His wounds have paid my ransom. Why should I gain from his reward? I cannot give an answer, but this I know with all my heart. His wounds have paid my ransom, but this I know with all my heart. His wounds have paid my ransom. Okay, so we're going to start the Easter egg hunt. We've got crafts, we've got refreshments, and we want you to have fun. We're going to have some music playing. Neil, are you heading outside to pop the music on? And if you've not got anything to put your eggs in, just come to me. I've got some bags. But just have fun and enjoy. Get as many eggs as you can find, all right? Enjoy. Sorry, on the garden at the front.